Dudes, welcome to Sense of Style. I'm Stuart. 8 fragrances that will send a shiver down your spine. The reason that happens is because the sense of smell is more closely aligned with the emotional centers of your brain than any other sense. And for proof, just imagine that you can smell smoke while you're in your house. All of a sudden, it becomes a very negative experience, and it becomes a very public experience. A lot of people are involved, and they share the same sentiment. Get the hell out or find out what the problem is. However, fragrances is a very different experience. It's usually quite positive. You get that shiver down your spine. It's a very personal moment as well. Sometimes it's difficult to share with other people just how amazing a fragrance smells. So it's a very personal but very powerful moment, just getting that first taste of a note or a fragrance that you love. And that's what this video is about. All of these fragrances that happened to me, I got shivers from all of them. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, it's happened to you. Let's get to it. Fragrance number 1, this is Alpha by Fragrance World, and this is a clone of Tom Ford's Ebene Fumé. Now, Ebene Fumé was not really a fragrance that I had on my wish list, nor a clone of it, but on Black Friday, this was at a really good price. Fragrance World, at least in my experience, has been very good. Now, I'm not sponsored by anyone or anything. I don't even monetize my videos, but I've had a lot of good luck with Fragrance World, and this fragrance was one that really sent a hardcore shiver down my spine when I smelled it. It was the biggest surprise that I got at Christmas. This is a fantastic fragrance and a fantastic clone. I wouldn't have thought that I would have liked Ebene Fumé. That actually means smoked ebony. And ebony is a type of black hardwood. And there's some of that in here. This also has gaiac wood, which is also very smoky, and incense and resins. And it has a note called Palo Santo, which is yet another wood. So yeah, this is a smoky, woody scent. Really good one. The quality here is amazing. The only thing I don't like about it is you can see the nose really goes out a long way on this wolf on the cover. But yeah, this was a big, big surprise, this particular fragrance. The presentation, everything about it, from just the cap, the way it goes on very, very smoothly. Very good quality. I get 10 hours. Really spine-chilling fragrance for me, and probably my best Christmas present this year. Fragrance number 2, this is Prada Lum, and this is a classic iris fragrance. And if you've ever smelled a fragrance with a note that you love, or a particular fragrance that you've tried for the very first time, that's what I encountered when I tried this, because I'm a big iris fan, and this is packed with iris. And this one was a huge shock to me because I kept hearing that it was clean and soapy, and that meant something very different to me. No one said anything about the amber in this. It's a gorgeous amber dry down. I was expecting something very sharp. Like, there's violet and neroli in this is just very sharp, but the amber in here is gorgeous. I adored this fragrance from day one. I always will. This is in my top 10. And I know there are a couple of people that I talk to on my channel. I know there's one guy that's always asking me for a sweet tobacco video, and obviously, you know, he must love tobacco. There's another guy that really likes patchouli. So just imagine if there's a note you really like and you smell it for the first time. Yeah, you're going to get chills, and I certainly did with Prada Lum. Sometimes when you get a chill down your spine from a fragrance, it'll be more about remembering a place, a person, or a time of your life, and that scent just brings everything back. This is Jovan Van Musk from 1973. I was lost one day in a nearby suburb, needed a break, so I stopped at a Walmart. I went in, and of course I went right to the fragrance section. I saw this. I think this was $15 Canadian, and I grabbed it, and I went in the car, gave it a spray, and immediately I felt like I got this huge jolt. This was more than a shiver down my spine. This one actually had me a bit confused for a few minutes, because even though I'd never heard of this fragrance before, I'd never heard of it, I'd never seen the bottle, this was literally like an old friend. This wasn't just a fragrance that I had smelled before. This was a fragrance that I knew really, really well. And it must have been, judging by my reaction, something from way back, because, yeah, I was absolutely stunned. But, yeah, it's amazing how much power they can have over us. Fragrance number 4 is Dayt To Noir by Al Haramain, and this might come as a surprise to people that watch the channel regularly because I've had a lot of not nice things to say about this fragrance. However, this was the very first of the new clones that I had a chance to try. And I got this is a tester box, and it did not fit in the box very well. You can see it was literally like this with a piece of tape over it. And it had the label rubbed off partially here. And it's this really little ugly bottle. And this was the first clone. And there was a big part of me that was like, this can't really be a clone of Layton. It can't really be any good. And I mean, look, we're always going to get clones of big fragrances like Sauvage or Aventus. But Layton was one of those ones kind of like Pure Malt. You didn't think was going to get cloned. And then when the box came like this, and then I smelled it, and I was just stunned. This actually really does smell an awful lot like Layton. It was a huge surprise. And it was just like, whoa, it was just, I knew things were going to be a little different, if you're cloning fragrances like Layton. Anyway, I have come to see the flaws in this. It really does in many ways give a real Layton vibe. There's no doubt about it. It's not the highest quality juice in the world, but if you really love Layton, it can certainly serve a purpose. Fragrance number 5, this is Ombre Nomad by Louis Vuitton. And this sample was given to me for free. And so, you get given a sample and you figure, well, how good could it be? So I didn't try it for a few days, and then I did. And then all of a sudden I was like, what's going on? Because this, like some of the other fragrances on this list, is in my top 5. And this is the first time I'd ever tried oud. I'd heard one or two things about it, but I never tried it. And this is one of the most expensive and one of the best oud fragrances on the market. And I tried this, and immediately I was like, okay, I need more of that. And within a week, I had ordered this. This is Versace's Oud Noir. Now, these two fragrances are quite different, but the experience of trying Ombre Nomad, it's a very, very rich, dark oud. It has a lot of rose. It has some raspberry. It's a little sweet, and it has some incense, but this is just a gorgeous creation. And, again, imagine trying maybe the best patchouli fragrance in the world as your first patchouli fragrance, and it'll certainly wake you up. Fragrance number 6, this is Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. And this one will be difficult to describe because this is not about notes. This actually has vanilla. It has kulfi, which is a creamy ice cream, and cardamom. But really, that's not what did this for me. It's what I call texture. It's a feel that you get from a fragrance. It's kind of like, if you try powdery fragrances for the first time. So with this, it has a specific vibe that I get from it. And I like to think of it as sort of soft powdery, but also powerful at the same time. And the only other fragrance that I've ever got the exact same vibe, the exact same texture that I did with Noir Extreme was Prada Luna Rosa Black. And even though the notes in these two fragrances are quite different, I get the same soft, powdery, and yet powerful texture. And I remember smelling this, and it was certainly not a private moment when I smelled it for the first time. I was being stalked by a sales associate. I just bought a big fragrance, and I was testing some, and she was hanging over me. It was really annoying, and I smelled this, and just all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. But yeah, it was an awkward situation, but yeah, that vibe. And I don't know if anyone else can relate to what I'm saying, and maybe you all think I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. But yeah, that's the vibe that I get with those fragrances. The only other one where I kind of get the same vibe actually might be Jean Paul Gaultier Elixir. Fragrance number 7 is all about scent. This is By the Fireplace from the Replica line at Maison Margiela. And yeah, this one again, and it's really awkward when you have these sort of chill down your spine moments in public. Again, I was in a Sephora when I tried this, and it was just like, oh my God. But this is such an odd experience because aside from really liking the scent, just the idea that something that feels like there's a fire going on, I didn't think they could replicate that. I really didn't, but I didn't know anything about Gaiac wood, but this has Gaiac wood, vanilla, and chestnuts, and this really smells like you've you're in a very small room with a lot of vanilla candles. It smells very much like vanilla, and there's a fire in the corner with chestnuts roasting there. That's the vibe that I get, a very cozy winter vibe. And then finally, we have Polo Green. And if Jovan Van Musk is a long-lost friend, this is a rich uncle that I've only seen occasionally, because I had smelled this before, even though I didn't know it. I'd seen the bottle. Again, I don't know how long between when I smelled it and I got the bottle, but I definitely was familiar with this scent, and it just smells so, to me anyway, my perception of it is, up here, someone really important, someone really wealthy, someone really got everything together. And that's the vibe that I get from Polo Green. Anyway, I really hope this hasn't been too personal and that you guys can relate to some of these. It's very difficult to talk about chills down your spine in an honest way without sharing your own experiences. And I know you guys normally like hearing about the fragrances, but I thought I would do that today. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.